Welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop. Steve here with a playthrough of Ratcatcher. This is a Kickstarter preview of a solo adventure game. Keep in mind that artwork and components are prototypes and subject to change, but let's jump to the table and see what it's about. So in the Ratcatcher board game, we are assigned to protect the town of Bree, who has had the ability to create magic cheese. Magic cheese has this incredible property of being able to, well, be used for magic. But unfortunately, the rats have discovered that it is quite yummy and imbues them with magic powers as well. So while I'll be playing as the Pied Piper in this playthrough, right here, and the rat horde in this game is going to be going against the Brood Mother. And so how this game works is we'll be running around trying to capture this blue magic cheese. If we can collect 10 of these magic cheese, we win the game. However, the rats have a track too. Every time they gather a magic cheese, they will unlock new abilities, and if they get 10 cheese, the rats win. Another way we can win the game is if we're able to eliminate the Nemesis down to 0 health, we win the game. And of course, if Nemesis or any of the rats eliminate the Ratcatcher, we lose. So 2 ways to win: 10 cheese or eliminate Nemesis, and 2 ways to lose: the rats get 10 cheese or eliminate the Ratcatcher. So let's go ahead and set up the Ratcatcher board, and I'll explain to you what the board's about. So on the left here, you see that we have our health track. In this case, the Pied Piper has a maximum of 3 health. However, if you notice the little star indicator in the corner, the star indicator shows you the starting state. So currently we only have 2 health. And this blue wedge is actually for those magic cheese tokens I showed you. If we're able to gather them, we can assign them to the card and unlock new abilities. Like if I put it here, we can now have a maximum of 3 health. So that's where the health is on this board. We also have movement down here. So we'll take a black cube and put it on our starting movement space, which is 5. Likewise, we have the ability to level up our movement as well. On the bottom, we have our fight dice. So here we fill up to only 4 fight dice. And of course, the ability to add more dice if we want to level that up. These stats here are important stats for combat. This here's your accuracy, so in order to have a successful hit, we need to roll 4 or higher. This is our defense value. If we're going to get bit by a rat, we can reduce the amount of hits we have by this value and take the remainder. And then here is how many traps we have in this game. So the Pied Piper has 3 trap tokens he's able to use. I'm going to just put them right here in the middle so we don't forget them. And what do these traps do? Well, that's what the rest of the board's for. See up here, the music box with the trap icon? This tells us what the traps do. So he has music boxes that say, this trap attacks values equal to the highest level of rat in the target zone. So it costs us 1 movement to lay it down, accuracy of 4+, and the fight value, or how many dice we roll, is equal to X. So that value is going to be 2, 4, or 6, depending on what's in that spot. Each Ratcatcher also has special abilities, these potion abilities, a purple ability, which tends to be an instant ability, and a yellow ability, which tends to be a more persistent ability. And so we can't use either of these abilities until we unlock it by putting a blue cheese here. When we do so, we'll fill up our reserve of tokens and we can spend them to do these abilities. Likewise, we can spend additional magic cheese to refill this reserve. So that's how we set up the Ratcatcher board. Let's look at the Nemesis board. To set up the Nemesis board, it's pretty simple. All we need to do is take a health marker and put it at the maximum level right there, the starting location. So as the rats eat cheese, we'll put a cheese down here and slowly fill this up. When they get to the top, they win, and then as we go up the track, bad things will happen. Each Nemesis also has different stats too. So up here is the movement of the mouse, or of the Nemesis. So we roll a d6 for see how far they go. This here is their bite value. So the Nemesis is going to roll 4 dice to attack us with an accuracy of 4+ for hits. This one has a defense value of 4, so in order to do a single wound to it, we have to exceed that value to do a hit. So I need to do 4 hits, and then after that, the other hits will actually do wounds. And then each Nemesis is able to spawn rats in their space. So that's what this mouse with the little arrows spinning around it means. So they become a spawn point. Now this one's a little bit different because you see there's a dice in there. This is a randomizer. And if you look here at Endless Tide, this is a special ability of the broodmother. So when she spawns, we can roll a d6 and we add specific mice to that spot based upon our result. And last but not least, we have this value down here, which is the target value. So each mouse is either going to head towards magic cheese or the Ratcatcher. In this case, this Nemesis wants to go after cheese. So we're done setting up that board. Let's go ahead and look at a couple of reference cards and then set up the town. In addition to the Nemesis Rat, you'll see a bunch of common rats. There's brown, white, and black common rats. And their stats, you can reference this card for that. So the white rats, movement speed of 1, no defense, no bite, and they just go after cheese. Pretty straightforward. They're your normal rats. The brown rats are a little bit different. They're faster, 2 speed. They do bite, and they go after the Ratcatcher. In addition, whenever the Ratcatcher tries to leave a space with a brown rat, it will try to bite them as an attack of opportunity. So you have to be cognizant of that while we play. The black rats, in my opinion, are the worst ones. They only move 1, they do have defense, they don't bite, and they go after cheese. However, whenever you spawn a black rat in a spawn point, you will draw an additional rat. So basically, they don't count to your spawn limit. They're just extra rats to deal with. So you can wind up getting a lot of them. One of the cards to look at in the game is the Tallyman card. So when we defeat rats, we are capturing them in a cage. So we'll take the rats and place them onto this card. And then what we can do as an action during our turn is remove rats from this cage and add them back into the available spawn pool. And depending on how many rats we remove from this cage, we can get different abilities like get fight dice, gain health, get potions, or if we're even lucky, get a magic cheese. The last card to look at is this reference card for the turn structure. For a Ratcatcher turn, you can move, fight, set traps, pick up cheese, or use your powers if you have them unlocked. That's in addition to the Tallyman card I showed you earlier. And then we have this ability at the bottom, which says if there's ever less than 2 magic cheese in the town, we need to actually add more town locations to the board. That won't mean a whole lot right now, but I'll show you in a second during setup what that actually means. And then on the flip side of this card, we have the rat turn. And we'll go through some more detail in the actual play. The last part of setup is to create the board. So when you find the start tile, which is always 0, 0. And it's easy to tell because that's the start space right here. And that's where we're going to take our figure of our Ratcatcher and put it in there. So I'm playing with the Pied Piper, so I'll put him right here. Also on the board, you'll see different spaces. You will see blue cheese wedges. And that's where we're going to add magic cheese, right there. And you see these different rat symbols all around the board. So that's where we're going to spawn rats. In addition to the small ones, which are one-time spawns, you only add rats there when you add that card to the board. But the big ones with the arrows spinning around them are spawn points. So those are going to actively spawn rats at the end of every round. There's also this number here, but I'll show you what that means in a second. That's called Explore. But to spawn rats, we'll just add the rats to the bag and draw them out one at a time. So I'll walk through the rat spawning in a little detail here, but probably later on in the video I'll just speed up that process. So we need to draw a rat from the bag and add them here. So this is a brown rat. Do the same thing again for the spawn point here. Another brown rat. We need another one over here. This is a white rat. And we need 2 more up here. We have a white rat and another brown rat. So at the beginning of the game, since we only have 1 magic cheese, we do have to do a mandatory explore before we even start the game. So what that means is we look at the card that the Ratcatcher's on and we look for this value in the corner here with the arrows. See the Roman numeral 2, that means we need to draw 2 locations. So we have this deck of location cards, and we'll shuffle them up. And we'll draw one and add it to the board. So how locations are added is we can put them anywhere around an active location. An active location is any location that has the Ratcatcher in it, has magical cheese in it, has a Nemesis or Peculiar Rat in it. A Peculiar Rat is basically like a mini boss. We'll show you those later. Or a location that's adjacent to the Ratcatcher. So basically, I can place this obviously anywhere around this main location, and I can place it in such a way that these double arrows line up. Doesn't matter which double arrows I choose, they just have to line up some way. So I'm going to take this card and let's go ahead and put, let's put it right here. And I'm putting it right here because I kind of like having those two magic cheese next to each other. We'll go ahead and populate the board with tokens. So we do add a potion token right here on this purple potion spot. Add a magical cheese token here. And go ahead and spawn those locations. So we need a rat here. Add a brown rat. 2 rats here. Now, one of these rats is a black rat. And just like I said before in the card setup, when we draw a black rat, we have to draw an additional rat. And we draw another brown rat. And now we need 2 rats up here. Here we draw a black rat and a white rat, so we draw another rat, which is a white rat. Okay, that's our first of 2 locations. Here's our second location. Ooh, this one's got a yellow marker. That's cool. Let's see. Let's go ahead and put this one. Let's put it. Put it right there. So this location has a question mark in it, and we actually have a pool of question mark tokens that is going to be random effects to this location. So I'll go ahead and draw one of those question marks from that pool we have and flip it face up. We add it to that spot. So here, oh great, we get a peculiar rat. So at least you guys see a mini boss already. Peculiar rats come with a big deck of cards. These are basically kind of like big mutant rats. Not quite as big as Nemesis, but that's why I call them mini bosses. So because we have to add one to the board, we'll just draw one, flip it over, and we get the Mad Ratter. So here's how the peculiar rats work. They have their own stat lines. So this guy has a movement of 4, 3 bite effect, 3 defense, and he's going after magic cheese. That's the target he wants. And this symbol down here is the treasure symbol. So when you defeat this rat, you get a random reward. So you draw one of those tokens I showed you earlier, and we get magic cheese. That's pretty nice. So we go ahead and find his token and add him to the board. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this token from the board because it really doesn't matter and replace it with that peculiar rat. Just like before, we'll add a magic cheese to that location. And we add a yellow potion right here. Let's go ahead and add the mice to this location. Now that the mice are added, we're ready to get started. So what can we do? We can move around the board, so move to adjacent locations. We can use our fight dice to fight anything in our spot. We can set traps, so we can set traps in our current location or adjacent location. And if we're lucky, there's no rats in a space, we can pick up any magic cheese and add it to our board to start leveling up. And then if we have the ability to pick up those potions we saw earlier, if we have that ability unlocked, we can go ahead and do that if we move into that space. We can also do anything on the Tallyman card when we have rats there. And then after that, we'll have to add more locations if we have less than 2 magic cheese in the town. So let's look at the board and figure out what we want to do. So rats will eat a magic cheese if there are ever 5 rats in that spot. So most rats, except for the brown ones, have only 1 movement speed. And so the white and black rats are going for magic cheese. So right now, this magic cheese, there's 3 common rats here and 1 there. So these 3 are going to want to move in that spot. Most likely there's only going to be 4 rats there because the other rats, well, actually, yeah, the other rats are going to head towards me. So this one will not get eaten right away. We can maybe leave that. This one here is going to have only 2 white rats there. The brown rats are coming after me. And then over here, this one will have 1, 2, 3, 4 rats there trying to eat that cheese. And the brown rats are coming towards me. So it looks like for the most part, all these magic cheese are not going to be eaten in the first round. So I can position myself to kind of manage the threat a little bit easier. Actually, I take that back. Because we have this peculiar rat, he actually wants to eat that magic cheese as well. So he will actually count towards the 5. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rats are going to be going towards here. So I think that's my first destination. Let's try to figure that out. Now, unfortunately, I'm playing with a character that does not have any defense. The other characters do have defense, so I have to be very careful how I move. If I move into any space with a brown rat, it will try to attack me as I leave. I really don't want to take any wounds because I don't have much health. But let's go ahead and move. I'm going to go ahead and move one space right here and stop. Let's go and fight that rat in my spot. To fight a rat, we just go to our board and we look at our fight dice, and we can choose to pick up any of these fight dice we want. So I'll pick up one dice because there's only one rat in our spot. And I need to roll a 4 or higher to hit. Okay, let's go and hit that rat. Take my dice and roll it. Need a 4 or higher. Oh, only a 3. I have 3 more fight dice. So I could try it again, but I also want to try to take out some other rats. So I think I'm just going to kind of ignore him. But before I leave, let's go ahead and lay down a trap. So traps all have a cost associated with them. The cost for the Pied Piper is 1 movement. So I'm going to spend 1 movement to lay down a trap. And you know what, guys? I'm sorry. I forgot to show you that when I moved my 1 space last time, I should have moved this down an additional spot. So we move 1 movement to move 1 space over and 1 movement to lay down a music box. So we'll go ahead and take one of our traps and add it to our space, our adjacent space on the board. So I want to drop this music box right in this space here because I know some rats are heading towards that. See if we can't take some of them out. So let me go ahead and move towards that peculiar rat and see if we can't take him out too. So I'm going to move another movement to move here. So move that marker down 1 more space. Now I have 3 dice left over. I'm going to pick up all those dice and roll them against that peculiar mouse and the other rats in that space. Okay, here we go. Nice. Need a 4 or higher to hit. I rolled a 6, a 5, and a 2. One cool thing about this game is 6s are called mortal wounds. What that means is you can deal a damage regardless of the defense value. This peculiar rat did have a defense value of 3, so it'd be really hard to hit, but since I rolled a natural 6, I can take him out. So I'll go ahead and spend that 6 to take out the peculiar rat. And this other 5 I'll spend to take out a common rat. Unfortunately, the black rats do have defense, so I can take out the white rat. Let's take out the white rat first, and then I'll show you what the peculiar rat does. So with the common rats, whenever you defeat them, you add them to the tallyman board. So we have 1 in this cage. And because we took out the peculiar rat, we'll remove him from the board as well. And check his card. His card says when we defeat him, we get 1 random ability and our first magic cheese. This plus means we get both. Some of the cards might have a slash in it, so you have to choose between the options. So we grab a question mark and flip it over. We get health back. Oh, unfortunately, we're at full health. Oh well. But more importantly, we get magic cheese. Excellent. Now for the fun part, we can choose to put this magic cheese anywhere on our board. So what do we want to level up? We can level up, try to level up our defense. We need to put 2 cheese there to increase that value by 1. We can put 2 cheese here to increase or decrease the ability to hit, so it'll be a 3+ rather than 4+. We get more fight dice, more movement. But these abilities over here are pretty powerful. I do like these. I think I might go ahead and try to use one of those. In fact, I am near a yellow potion, so I could actually get another potion pretty quickly. But I do like this ability here, this Haunting Melody. Let's go ahead and lock that first. So I'll put a cheese there. Then we grab 3 of these purple cubes and replenish our stock. So now we can spend 1 of these tokens to attack with 2 dice, 5 or higher to hit, but we target our current zone and all adjacent zones. So with our movement, I'm going to spend 1 more movement to move to another spot. Let's go ahead and move down to this location right here. And I will use that potion, that Haunting Melody, because look at this, we can attack all these rats around us. That seems like a pretty good use of that ability. So to use that ability, we'll simply remove 1 of these cubes. So now we roll 2 dice and we need 5 or higher, and we attack every zone in our space and adjacent to us. Got my 2 dice, let's see what happens. That is horrible, completely whiffed. Oh man. Well, I'm not satisfied with that. Let's go ahead and spend another token. So remove another one from our board to do it again. Much better. So we need 5 or higher to hit, but we did get a 6, which is a mortal wound. So that means we can get rid of one mouse no matter what their defense value is. So let's get rid of the one in my spot. Let's get rid of this one that's going to come attack me, this white one, and this black one. And we can get rid of the black one that has defense, but because we have the 6, it's gone. So that's pretty happy with that. I did have to spend 2 potions, but I did get rid of 4 rats. I'll go ahead and add those to our Tallyman board, our cage. And better yet, because there's no rats in our space with that magic cheese, we get our second magic cheese. Just gonna pick that up and add that to our board. Ooh, choices. Let's go and bring out the powerhouse. I'm gonna get the Soothing Lullaby. Seems too tempting not to do it, especially with that yellow potion right next to us. So we'll unlock that ability and add 2 yellow cubes to that space. So what this does is I can place a yellow cube on a township card I occupy, and all rats suffer -1 movement, attack, accuracy, and defense when in a township that contains this token. That token will persist until that township becomes inactive. I do have 1 more movement. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do that Soothing Lullaby right away and place this marker on this 12, just so it's out of the way and I remember. So now that's going to have a global effect on this tile. And with my last movement, to bring me to 0, I'm going to go ahead and move up here to pick up that potion. So now I'm out of fight dice, I'm out of movement, I can't lay down any more traps. I think we're done. So now let's go ahead and finish up our turn. When you finish up the Ratcatcher turn, we look at the bottom. We look for if there's less than 2 magic cheese on the board, and there's 2 magic cheese, so we ignore this. Otherwise we would have to explore. So now we can move on to the rat's turn. Let's take a closer look at the rat's turn. So rats, what they do is they'll try to move first. And their priority order is the Nemesis will go first, followed by any peculiar rats, followed by all the common rats. So they will move in a specific order. Then after that we'll look at traps. If any traps get triggered, then they will bite. And they'll bite in the same order. Nemesis, peculiar, and then the common rats. And finally we'll see if they can consume cheese. They consume cheese if there's 5 rats of any type in that spot. And then last but not least, we'll spawn additional rats. So let's move them. So keep in mind all the black and white rats want to head towards magic cheese, and all the brown rats want to come after me. So this white rat wants to move towards the magic cheese over here, but because I have this lullaby currently active, it has a movement speed of 0, so he's stuck there. He also doesn't have any bites, so it doesn't matter if I'm there. Now on this tile, we do have a lot of movement happening. So this white rat's going to move up here to join his brethren, going after that magic cheese. And the 3 brown rats want to come attack me. So this rat has a movement speed of 2, so 1, 2. This guy's going to go 1, 2, and he's going to go 1, 2 as well. So that's all the rats here. The rats up here, this black one wants to stay towards with the magic cheese, and the rest of these 3 want to move in that same spot. So they're going to pile up there. The brown rats have a speed of 2, and they're coming after me. So these 2 guys are going to leave that space and head towards my direction. So they're going to go 1, 2. And this guy is going to go 1, 2 right here. Okay, that's all the movement. Now we spring traps. We have 1 trap on the board. So we remove this trap from that location and we'll see what it does. So the Pied Piper's traps are a music box. We will attack that equal to the highest level of rat in that zone. Because it's common, we have a value of 2. So we will roll 2 dice, we're looking for a 4+ to hit. Okay, let's roll our 2 dice for that trap. Awesome, got a 6, happy with that one. So we do take out 1 rat. So let's see, let's take out probably this brown rat, because he's gonna be pretty annoying. I don't have defense 2, so we'll capture him. So after movement and traps, then we do bite. So what we do is we look at what all the rats do. So the white rat bite was 0, the brown rats with 1, and the black rats with 0. So I have a white rat in my space, which attacks with 0, so I don't have to worry about it. But what you would do is you add up the bite values of all the rats in your space, and if it exceeds your defense value, you would take a wound. And one thing about this game is, it doesn't matter how much it exceeds, as long as it exceeds by any amount, you will take a single wound from that source. So if I would have 4 hits from a bunch of common rats and have 0 defense, I would still only take 1 damage. However, this does not matter for Nemesis Rats. Nemesis Rats are able to do a bunch of wounds, and we'll probably see one of those later. So after you check bite, now we have to consume cheese. And finally, spawn more rats. So for consuming cheese, we count the number of rats in a spot with magic cheese. We have 2 here and 4 here. So they need 5 to be able to consume that cheese. And so neither of those are consumed. Now we can spawn rats. So now finally we check for exploring. If there's ever a time when if there's less than 2 magic cheese tokens in the town, then we have to add more light tiles to the board. But that's not the case here, so we can go ahead and continue on to the Ratcatcher's turn. At the beginning of the Ratcatcher's turn, we will replenish its resources. So that means we will move our movement all to our current unlocked max. In this case it's 5. We'll gain our fight dice. In this case it's 4, since we haven't unlocked any more yet. And we'll get back all of our traps, so we go back to 3. We do not gain our health back, and we do not gain any additional potions back. The only way to get health and potions is by finding them on the map or by going through the tally man, basically spending rats to get those. Okay, let's go ahead and jump back to the board and figure out what we want to do. So this tile, there's really no reason for me to be here anymore, so I might as well head back to the beginning. So let's go ahead and start moving, and I'm going to go ahead and move 1, 2 into this space. So that's going to cost 2 of my 5 movement. Now normally these rats would try to attack me if I left the space, but because of my soothing melody behind here, they actually have -1 fight, so they have 0 fight. In fact, these guys have 0 speed and these guys have 1 speed, so I can actually leave the space without worrying about it. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to spend 1 more to move 1 additional space. So now I'm getting close to this other magic cheese, but I've got a lot of guys in my space. That's another problem. So what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and try to nullify the threat a little bit. And let's go ahead and lay down another soothing lullaby. Just go ahead and drop that onto this start tile. Now that I have another lullaby playing, they won't attack me either. So let's go ahead and do an additional movement to move up to this magic cheese right here. So now I have 1 movement left. But I'm in a pretty awesome position, I think, to go ahead and lay down some pain. So let's go ahead and play my Haunting Melody. So my Haunting Melody is my purple power. Let's go remove that. And now I get to roll 2 dice. I need a 5 or higher to hit, but this attacks my current zone and all adjacent zones. Got my 2 dice. Let's go ahead and roll them. Okay, rolled a 6 and a 2. So I get to kill 1 rat in each spot next to me and my current location. Let's take out, let's definitely take out black rat. Capture 1 of those while I can, because it normally has defense, but a 6 counts as a mortal wound. So take out that one, obviously this one in my space, and then 1 of these brown rats. So take out 4 rats for that. Now I think I'm ready to try to take out this rat in my space, see if I can steal that magic cheese from him. So let's go ahead and grab this die and roll it. See what happens. Boom! Got it. Capture that rat. Now there's no rats in that spot. I get my magic cheese. Okay, what to level up with 1 magic cheese? We get additional fight dice, which is pretty tempting. But I don't know if I quite need that. I think let's go ahead and improve our odds at fighting these rats by spending 1 here. So I won't get a bonus until I get my 2nd magic cheese next to it. But I think that's a start. So I have a 1 movement left and I have 3 fight dice. Let's figure out what we're going to do with that. So now, an important thing to keep in mind is I have 1 magic cheese out. So that means we're definitely going to explore. Now, the number of cards we draw is equal to the location I'm on. So as tempting as it is to move here and fight these guys, that does have 3 locations. I don't think I want to manage 3 additional locations popping out, so I might just wait a turn and just stick with this location, which only has 2. So because I don't want to move, I think I'm just going to spend my last movement to drop a trap right there. So let's go and put that trap there. So now let's go ahead and do our explore. So the first card we draw is this location. Okay, we can put it next to any active location, and currently all these are active locations. So let's go ahead and put this guy, let's see, I do want to head further north, so why not? Let's put him further north. So let's go ahead and put it like that. This one has a question mark, so let's see what that is. We get, sweet, purple potion. So put that there, and immediately put another potion there. So one thing to keep in mind is if you reveal a location that has the potion and you don't have any more of these cubes because 1, they're already on other locations on the board, or 2, they're already on your Ratcatcher's board, you do not add anything to that location. So you can have a missed out opportunity if not managing your resources wisely. So put that there. We get a magic cheese here. And of course we spawn a bunch of rats. That's our first location. Let's do our second location. So this one I'm going to put right next to the other one, right here. So we do have a magic cheese on it. And let's go ahead and spawn the rats. Okay, we're done with our explorer. Let's move on to our rat turn. So just like before, the rats want to move. And they're going to only move in the active locations. In this case, all these locations are active because they're either adjacent to me or there's magic cheese in them. So this tile is first. These white rats have movement speed of 0, so they're just not going to move. And these brown ones are going to move 1 space. So they can move into here. These other brown rats want to come attack me, so they can move into my spot. And there's no other rats on that location. These 3 rats want to stay with the magic cheese. And this brown rat wants to come attack me, so it's going to come right here. 1, 2, into my spot. Then we have this brown rat wants to come down 1, 2 speed to come try attack me. Likewise, this one, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. And these guys are going to stay with that magic cheese. These guys are going to head to that magic cheese, and this guy's going to come attack me in my direction. Okay, now we do our traps. We have 1 trap right here. So we remove that from the board and see what we can do to save that cheese. So with our magic box, we roll 2 dice because there's only common rats there, and we need a 4+. Grab our 2 dice, let's see what happens. Look at that, 4 and a 6. So with that 6, let's take out the black rat, capture him, and the 4, let's take out this brown rat. So add those to our tallyman, our cage. And now after we spring traps, the rats will bite. So we add up the bite value down here, and so these are normally 1 bite each, but because of my soothing lullaby, they are -1, so there's 0. So 0 bites against me. So nice. Don't have to worry about that. Now magic cheese gets eaten. There's only 2 rats here, so nothing happens. However, we have 5 rats here and 2 rats there, so this cheese is going to get eaten. So let's remove from the board. And then these 5 rats also get removed from the board, and they will get added back into the spawn pool. We were doing so good, but they finally got one. So we add a cheese there, but luckily there's no effect. Yet. That's going to change very quickly though. So now we look at spawning mice. So we're looking at these spawn points all around the board. However, we only spawn them in active locations. And this becomes important because this location here is currently not active because there's no more magic cheese and it's not adjacent to the Ratcatcher, or the Ratcatcher's not in it, And there's no peculiar rats or the Nemesis rat there. So we are not going to spawn at this spot, but the rest of them we will spawn. Now finally we look for explore possibility, and there's 2 magic cheese, so we will not explore. Let's move on to the Ratcatcher's turn. Just like before, move our movement all the way up to 5 again. Regain back our fight dice to the maximum we have unlocked and gain back up to 3 traps. One thing is, we'll say that at the end of the round, if you have any traps that did not trigger, they still come back to your board. Okay, let's go ahead and take our turn. Okay, so this magic cheese is pretty close to us, not too far away. We can get there easily because these guys won't bite us. I think that's what we need to do. Let's go ahead and move up. So spend one of our movements to move here. Let's go and fight those mice. So let's pick up 2 of our fight dice and roll them. We need 4 or higher. Here we go. Boom, double 4s, love it. So those 2 guys are captured. And now that it's clear, we get to pick up this magic cheese. Let's add it to our board. I feel like this is a fairly obvious choice. Let's go ahead and add it up here. Since we already had one there, now that we have 2 there, we can unlock that ability and make it a 3+. Now it's a 3+ to hit. Excellent. And before I pull away, we still have 4 movement, and we have our 3 traps and 2 fight dice. So let's figure out how we can manage that other magic cheese. We do have 15 rats in our cage right now, so we're actually doing quite well there. We can maybe save up to get a magic cheese that way. That's pretty tempting. We could also get a nice lullaby for 12 of them. But I think for now, there's a potion sitting here. I kind of want to take advantage of that and head that way to get maybe another potion and maybe get that magic cheese. Plus, I don't want to be on this tile with 3. So we add 3 more locations to the board. So I want to make sure I get off this into that spot. So let's move 1 here. So bring our speed down to 3 left. And then let's go ahead and roll one of our fight dice. So pick up that, oh, before I forget, let's grab that potion and add to our board. And then let's go ahead and take that fight dice and roll it. And now we need just a 3+. Oh no! Well, I still have another fight dice. Yeah, let's do it. Pick that other fight dice and roll it. Need a 3+. Oh, come on. Oh, that hurt. Well, we still have some options. I'm out of fight dice, but we can get fight dice back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 3 rats and add them back to the spawn pool to gain another fight dice. So let's take another fight dice and roll that one. There we go, finally. Got him. Not ideal, but I really wanted to get rid of that mouse because I want to move into the next location. With that mouse finally out of the way, let's move into this spot here. So we only have 2 movement left. We have no more fight dice. We still have a lullaby and a melody, hunting melody. This attacks all adjacent locations. I think what I want to do is maybe use both of those and try to wipe out a bunch of guys on the board if I can. So then that'll leave me with maybe 1 more movement left to drop down a trap. So let's see what we can do with that. So let's go ahead and drop a soothing melody right here. So now it's going to drop the stats of all the rats in this location. Now let's spend 1 movement to move into the adjacent location right here. And now that I'm adjacent to all these rats, now's the time to use that haunting melody. Spend our last purple cube, but luckily there's a purple cube nearby, so maybe we can replenish it. Just like before, let's just roll 2 dice, 5 or higher to hit, and we attack our current region and all adjacent regions. Oh no, that's whiffed. Oh, ouch. Okay, it is what it is. However, I will spend my last movement, like I said before, to lay down a trap. Let's lay down a trap in our current location. Okay, we spent all our resources. Let's see what happens. We do only have 1 magic cheese, so at the end of the turn we will explore. And exploration value is 2. So let's go and add those 2 locations. First one is this one. Ooh, nice, more potions. put that here. And let's go and see what the question mark is. Question mark would be this one, which is, ooh, another potion. Sweet. Let's add a cube here and a here. Okay. Add a magic cheese right here. And it looks like we need to spawn a bunch of rats. That's our first location. Let's get our second location out there, which is this one. Ooh, interesting. Okay. No potion to that one. Let's put this one on the board. I kind of like the idea of just connecting to the previous one we just added. So let's go and populate that board with a magic cheese, and then let's spawn the rats. With that over, it's time to move on to the rat phase. For the rat turn, we look at the active locations. So it's currently like these two are not active. Actually, this one's not active as well. And it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 locations are active, so they will move. So we will have this rat and this rat. They want to move towards a magic cheese here, but because I have a soothing lullaby going, their speed is actually 0, so they will not move. However, these 2 rats still have a speed of 1, or 2, sorry, have a speed of 2, but now it's 1, so they will move to try and engage. Okay, so that's that tile. This tile, these rats will move to try to go after that magic cheese next to me, so they move here. This tile looks like there's a magic cheese here that wants to get eaten, so it looks like everyone's going to head there. So we have, looks like 3 of them. This guy, and then this guy can move. Well, he's actually between 2 magic cheese, so we can choose which direction he wants to go. And I think let's have him go and just pile up in that one. And then this guy, this brown one's going to move 1, 2. He wants to head towards me. This guy's going to head 1, 2. And then all these guys are going to head towards that magic cheese. Okay. After movement, we have to spring our traps. So we spring this one trap, this music box, and see what we get. So for our music box, we roll only 2 dice because there's only common rats there. So we need a 4 or higher to hit. Let's see what we get. Double 3s, complete whiff. That sucks. Oh well. After that, they will bite. So let's see what rats bite. So we have a bite value of 0 because of my soothing melody. So don't have to worry about that. And now rats will consume. There are 4 rats in this space, so they luckily do not consume that cheese. However, there are a ton of rats here. Looks like there's 7 rats. They will eat that cheese, and they will all leave the board and go back to the spawn pool. Let's go and add that cheese to the bad Nemesis board. So they went ahead and ate their second cheese. Let's move up. So now we get to spawn a peculiar rat. So just like before, we'll take our cards, shuffle them up, and draw one. We get the Ratapus. So he has 4 speed, 3 bite, 2 defense, and he's going after the Ratcatcher. But if we kill him, we can choose between these potions. So that's pretty nice that we have both unlocked. If we had the unfortunate state of not having those abilities unlocked, then these rewards would not do anything. Or we couldn't select those rewards. So thematically, since those rats ate the magic cheese, one of them morphed into that monstrosity. So we put it right in that same spot. And the last spot over here has 4 rats, so that magic cheese does not get eaten. So now we get to spawn. Our current active zones are this one down here, this one I'm in, and now these 2. This one's still active because we have peculiar rats, so this one still do things. So let's go ahead and add those rats. With that done, we do an explore check. There's at least 2 magic cheese, so we will not explore. And finally, we have one more step we need to do, is that's the cleanup. That happens after the rat phase. So what we'll do is we will remove any and all tokens from inactive township cards. I haven't done this because we haven't had any expired potions or any inactive township cards that matter until now. But we've been doing this step because this is when we return the trap tokens to the character board. And that's where we return any rats on inactive zones back into the spawn pool, or what's called the rat sack. So looking at the full board, this one down here, this one's inactive. So this token will become available to us again. And all these rats will get added back into the sack. Likewise, this one is also going to have the same effect. Back into the pool. And all these rats back in the sack. And finally, this token as well. This rat gets added back to the sack. The rest of the locations we can keep out. Let's go back to our Ratcatcher's board and refresh them.